Hey guys, today on Rich with Cars, I'm gonna bring you 2021 Chrysler Pacifica E-Hybrid, which is a plug-in Pinnacle trim. I'm gonna go over a quick review of the exterior, interior, some of the actual features of it, and then finally, I'm gonna give you guys a quick interview with the owner, giving you guys an impression of what it is like to actually own this vehicle for the past year. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and we're gonna dive in and take a quick look. So this 2021 Chrysler Pacifica E-Hybrid went through some minor design upgrades for the 2021 year, including the hybrid powertrain as well. What really actually got my attention in terms of getting this vehicle reviewed is the fact that I was very surprised to see that there was no other minivan in the market that was a full plug-in hybrid. Of course, there's the Honda Odyssey and the Toyota Sienna. Toyota Sienna actually is a hybrid, but not full hybrid plug-in that actually allows you to drive on full electric powertrain. So that was very, very surprising. But to get started on the design of the vehicle, let's get started here from the front. I like the sort of smooth lines that the Pacifica has. From a design perspective, it's quite clean. I like what they did here with the front grille over here, and I like the actual design element that they integrate into the grille. Really, really nice. They kept it black, sort of sporty. They also managed to keep the radar detector sensor over here integrated into the bottom grille. And then when we look at the headlights over here, we have the LED daytime running light running here under the bottom, and the LED headlights as well, integrate into the same housing. With the hood over here, we have some very mild character lines, which are okay. And one thing that I really like is this Chrysler badge over here is in blue, which I believe has to do with the E-Hybrid of the vehicle. On the side here, that comes with a plug-in hybrid, the area where you get to plug in the vehicle into the wall or any type of electric power source. And once again, you get to see the blue. Surprisingly, being the Pinnacle trim, as you can see over here, this vehicle only comes with 18-inch wheels. And I believe that has to do with the fact that they try to keep it small for hybrid purposes, so you can get to increase your range. So once again, we get a bit of satin silver, or chrome if you want to call it, in certain areas of the vehicle, like the top of the side view mirror, and just around the window trim as well. Very subtle, and I like how that just fits into the whole design of the car. This color is actually called ceramic gray clear, and it's not a metallic color, it's actually a flat color, very similar kind of to a Nardo gray. Now of course, you got sliding doors on each side of the vehicle, something pretty cool. It's automatic, so if I just pull on this, it'll just open automatically. And then to close it, you just press on this button over here. Very, very convenient. We have the rear over here. One thing that I really like many vehicles nowadays, full length light bar that goes from side to side. It's sort of a clean design as well. You don't get to see the exhaust or anything, no exhaust housings, but you do get to see a bit of the exhaust just popping out there in the bottom. Now onto the interior. We get to see that this is an interior that only comes in the Pinnacle trim, with this caramel interior and a bit of the quilted stitching as well. Very nice. You got eight-way powered seats on both the driver side and the passenger side as well. But starting off with the door cards over here, not a big fan of this trim over here. It's I'm not even sure if it's real wood, but even if it is, it kind of looks cheap. You do have your window controls over here and your side view mirror controls, your door unlock. Further down, you have some leather, some plastics over here in the same color, which at least is pretty nice in that. As you can see over there, you do have a Harman Kardon sound system as well. So that's one of the speakers for the Harman Kardon sound system. And then you have some plastic injected molding over here with some added stitching to give it that stitched look. And I like the fact that they did the stitching over here in the same color as the interior. It goes very, very well. The seats themselves, I got to drive this vehicle myself a little bit, and they're very comfortable. The owner of this vehicle basically drove this car for about 16 hours, and they've told me that it was extremely, extremely comfortable as well. So this is a great vehicle for road trips and to hold multiple passengers, your entire family as well. Very, very, very good seats in my opinion. I haven't had a chance to check out some of the other minivans. I do like the fact that they integrated some of the colors on the B-pillar over here to give it a more cohesive look. And then something else that I really liked was the fact that the roof liner is sort of like in a microfiber / Alcantara material. So it gives a sense of higher type of trim, more luxurious feel. Starting off here from the driver's side, we'll take a look at the steering wheel, which this is sort of standard Chrysler. You do have some controls for some of the added functionalities. You have your phone controls over here, cruise control over here, and then you have some other types of controls for cruise as well over there. Now in terms of the gauge cluster, you have a mix of physical with digital. The left hand side of the gauge cluster over here will show your charge information in terms of the battery electric information. On the right hand side you'll see your fuel information. I find that that's a little bit too much. They could have done something else in terms of, you know, the actual breakdown for the gauge cluster. I think just taking up an entire side of the gauge cluster itself just on a fuel gauge is a little bit too much for my taste, but to each their own. The middle part will show different pieces of information that you can actually access as well. Here the infotainment system, so apparently they actually improved the infotainment system. This is Uconnect 5, and there's some clear improvements on this, especially when it comes to the resolution is very, very clear on this. Now, of course, you have a whole bunch of different functionalities that you can access through the infotainment system over here. So you have your home. The good thing about this, it's really, really cool on Uconnect 5 is the fact that these are, as you can see, adjustable. So you can make your home page adjustable to the way that you want. That's really, really cool. You can check your different pages over here. You can add a page. Very, very flexible in terms of how you want to interact with your infotainment system. Now, of course, like I said, you have different aspects here. That's your climate. You can actually heated steering wheel, ventilated seats, heated seats. You can also adjust your temperature over here. I like the fact that this is a slider, it makes it much easier to actually control that. But you also have physical controls for your HVAC system. So I like the fact that you have the ability to control from a physical perspective and also from an electronic perspective. The important things they kept in place, which is very, very good. You have your gear lever over here, which is just a rotary dial. And of course, moving along, you have your media, your different functionalities when it comes to your AC system, your navigation. Let's not forget that you can also connect over here via Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, which are wireless, by the way, so you don't need to actually plug in the phone for either of those functionalities to connect to the infotainment system. So that's really, really cool. And then you have all your different apps over here. You have everything from Alexa. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Uconnect 5 is quite stacked when it comes to functionality and capabilities. Here's one little cool thing, FamCam. And that is a camera that goes in between the second and third rows of the vehicle to see what's going on behind you so that you don't have to turn around. Very, very cool little feature as well. And then moving along here a little bit down, we have a couple of cup holders. I like the fact that these over here, I don't know if you can see them, these are sort of like deflatable half balls, if you want to call them, which will basically allow you to put in different size cups in the middle over here. Not that many cup holders for such a large interior, but at least you have a lot of storage area as well. But you do have 2 cup holders over here that can hold different size cups, which is really, really cool. Then you have a little bit of extra storage over here. You have 4 different USB connections over there, both USB-C and USB-A. And then this over here will slide all the way in, and that's actually a Qi wireless charger for different types of phones. So you can put your phone over there, have it connected to your infotainment via Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, and be charging at the same time. Very, very cool. And then we have a Blu-ray single CD player over there as well, and that can actually be played on the screens in the rear if you'd like. And then we have a middle compartment over here, and my apologies, the middle compartment here is filled up. They just came from a trip, but you do have a whole bunch of space over here, and you have additional power inputs. So you have a cigarette lighter power over here, and an additional 2 other USB plugs as well. Very, very cool. This, I believe, only comes in the Pinnacle trim, this middle armrest, so that's really, really cool. And then you have a little bit of extra storage over there as well, some more storage over there too. I'm not crazy, once again, about this trim, which continues over here, but it is what it is. And then you have more plastic injected mold over here with the stitching. I do like the stitching, like I said before. The fact that they made the stitching in the same color as the interior, so it gives it a more cohesive look. On the top here, you have controls for your sunroof, your sunshade over here, which is for the full panoramic sunshade. It can go even more, and it goes almost all the way to the rear. The rear also has a sunshade over there as well, but it doesn't open up. The only part that opens up is this over here. But that's still pretty cool that the passengers all the way in the 3rd row do have a sunroof as well. And then finally, one cool feature is the fact that you can control all your different doors from the top. Instead of having it to be controlled from the driver's side, you can actually control from the middle, which allows both the passenger and the driver to open the doors whenever they want. So we'll do a quick review of the 2nd row as well. I will not do the 3rd because the 3rd is basically stored away. But over here, we do have the 2nd row seating, which, because it's the fact that it's a Pinnacle hybrid, unfortunately you do not get automatic seats. Because of the hybrid system, you do have the batteries basically stored in between or placed in between the front row and the 2nd row. So a lot of the functionalities that you do get on the non-hybrid versions are not included in the hybrid version. For example, the vacuum system, the integrated vacuum system in the vehicle is not included in there. Neither do you get the stowaway seats on the 2nd row because of the battery that's stored in between the 2nd row and the 1st row. But you still get some adjustability over here. One cool thing about the Pinnacle edition is the fact that you get 2nd row entertainment. So this basically goes up. As you can see over here, you do get different apps. You get the disc, you have HDMI connect over here, USB connect. You can plug in your headphones as well. So you have even streaming as well. So it's almost a full deck of cards over here. You have a whole bunch of different options in terms of what you can do as well. Cool thing over here as well, you can close the door from here. Then you can get to control your AC from here as well. I put in auto. You can change the temperatures. So let's just leave it at a cool 74. And you get to control different aspects of the AC. You have a vent over there, another vent over there as well. And you get some vents here in the rear as well. So pretty loaded, this van. You also do get, let's not forget, some sunshades over here. So you can close this over here. You have another entertainment television over there for that passenger. They both can watch different things at the same time, so you get to keep the kids entertained on long trips, which is very, very cool. You get a little area here for storage. You get a little extra storage over here, I guess, for the cell phone. Very, very cool. This van is actually quite solid, to be honest. A lot of different automotive journalists have basically put this Pacifica on top of the list in terms of, you know, the minivans in the market, and I can see why. So it looks like a transport van over here with a third row being folded. I mean, it's quite spacious. So I wanted to show you guys a sort of, it's not fully installed because you got this mat over here. It's very, very difficult. But I want to bring up one of the third row seats just so you can see how it looks like. So they kept it also in the same color. One really crazy cool thing is the fact that you do get still some more storage here in the back. So you get to bring up the third row seats, and you get this depth over here as well, which is really cool because it allows you to put more things here in the rear, even though you have the third row seats put up. Since I'm already here in the back, might as well talk to you guys about cargo volume. Depending on the size of the family, you're gonna have the third row up or down. This particular family has 2 children, so they have the third row down to allow them to have more storage room or cargo volume capacity. I'll put up the numbers in terms of cargo volumes just so you guys can take a look, but it's quite spacious, surprisingly. I mean, even with the third row up, like I mentioned before, you have some depth at the bottom over there that will allow you to actually place things further down. So that's really, really cool. The other thing also is you have a little compartment over here where you can put your, basically I think this compartment was originally used to actually put the electric plug that you basically plug for the house, but you have quite a bit of extra storage space over here as well. So here we have a 3.6 liter V6 engine. That's a hybrid. I'll put some of the specs here as I'm talking, but believe it or not, since I've actually first encountered this vehicle, it's the first time that I actually hear the engine turn on. And the reason being is because the way that this vehicle works is that if the car is fully charged, it'll decide for you. You don't have the ability to actually decide whether you want to drive on electric alone or gas powered alone. So what ends up happening is if you're fully charged, the vehicle will drive in only electric. So if you drive a lot around the city, for example, you'll be driving only in electric, which is pretty cool. And you won't have to be filling up in gas and worry about, you know, gas mileage or anything like that, because all you got to do is just plug it into the wall at home. You don't even need a level 2 charging system at home to be able to charge this. I think it'll charge in about 14 or 15 hours overnight, so it's pretty good. But all in all, you know, it's not bad. And I believe that, you know, with the 260 horsepower that this thing comes with, it's good enough. So we got the owner of this 2021 Chrysler Pacifica E-Hybrid Pinnacle trim here to give us a bit of an insight from an owner's perspective. And we wanted to get an idea how it's been for you, you know, owning this vehicle over the past year. So first of all, what actually made you decide to actually get this minivan? Because I don't think you've ever been a minivan owner before. So no. What made you go for this?
No, I haven't, and there's a big stigma with owning a minivan. But I had an SUV. I had the QX60, Infiniti QX60 before, and it didn't offer enough space, even though it's a pretty large car. I found that going on long trips, and even on short trips where you're trying to get a lot of luggage in, and I have 2 children as well, and you know, it was really short in terms of space. So started researching the minivans, and the only minivan that's out there that is a plug-in hybrid is the Chrysler, and you know, decided to get a Pinnacle because it's the one that's fully loaded.
So it is fully loaded, but it does actually get to lose some of its features. Has that been bothersome for you? Because I know that some of the features that included on some of the lower trims, not lower trims, sorry, the non-hybrid versions have, for example, the vacuum system inside of the vehicle, electronic seats in the second row, even like the stowaway also for the second row. Have those been any sort of issues for you?
No, I mean, you obviously have to give something up because you have a battery in the bottom of the car. It stabilizes the car, so it has a lower center of gravity.
Yeah.
I actually wanted that because the car doesn't have all-wheel drive. So in the winter, you want a car that has a lower center of gravity, and with a good pair of winter tires, it'll drive very well in the winter.
Right.
And so the other feature is the vacuum. You know, you can use the vacuum anywhere and around the house. You can, it's, you know, portable. You put it in the car. It's actually very easy to maintain. In addition to that, the stow and go, you can just remove the seats and put them in the garage. That's not much of an issue. And the fact that electric seats are not available in the back, you do them manually and it actually is faster. So those features didn't really affect the car or driving the car at all.
In terms of its usability, absolutely. So, very important question here. So, how have you found the efficiency of the vehicle when it comes to fuel efficiency over the past year? Because based on my understanding is that the fact that since it is a plug-in hybrid, when the vehicle has 100% battery capacity, the vehicle actually drives only an electric during its first 32 miles of range. So how has that been in terms of fuel efficiency during your ownership experience?
Well, for everyone, it's going to be different. The car is usually utilized in a way that it's only driven for a few miles around the house, and so we don't go on very long trips with it very often. And so if you're that type of driver that only drives a few miles every day back and forth to the home, then it's going to operate fully electric. I don't have a level 2 charger at home. It takes about 10 to 11 hours to charge a car on a level 1 charger on a normal electrical outlet.
Yep.
And you don't have any control over the whether you can use electric or gas in the car. The first 30 miles are usually electric, and that's done on purpose because Chrysler, the engineers, felt that it was the most efficient way to use the car. It doesn't allow you that flexibility, but I didn't find that to be much of an issue. So like I said, if you drive it around town for a few miles a day, then you're fully electric. So I think it's about 82 miles per gallon electric. If you do drive it on long distances, you're going to get about 30 miles per gallon because you're going to be using gas as well with the electric.
Right. So let me ask you one last question. If you had to do it all over again, would you actually have gone for this vehicle versus other competitors, whether it's in the minivan segment or even SUV segment?
Like I said before, I was looking for a vehicle that has a lot of interior space to put in luggage and the children. In fact, the third row seat you can actually stow away, and you have a bigger luggage area. And if you don't, you just put a bench and you can put more kids in the back. Actually, adults fit in nicely in the back as well.
Third row you're talking about.
The third row, exactly.
Yeah.
And so from that perspective, I don't think there's any SUVs unless you go to a very, very large SUV that has the usability of this car. And so from a practical standpoint, it's a better
option
for families. And so that's the bottom line is it's a car for families. I think if you have 2 children, you don't want to put luggage, or if you have more children, it's very, very practical. And the competitors, I think you have the Toyota and the Honda out there, but none of them is a plug-in electric. So you get a rebate from the federal government.
$7,500, right, at the end of the year?
Exactly.
If I'm not wrong, that $7,500 credit cannot be applied for the next year. It has to be done on the same year that you actually purchase a vehicle.
I believe that's right. And
yeah.
That's a huge incentive. The battery is not huge, but it does qualify for that incentive. and given the practicality and the fact that it has a really low center of gravity that you can, you know, operate in the winter, you really don't need all-wheel drive. I think one of the competitors, the Toyota, has all-wheel drive, but it doesn't have the electric plug-in capability. And so if you're someone who's concerned about the environment, someone who wants practicality and large use of space in a vehicle, then this is a perfect vehicle for you.
Well, that's awesome. I forgot to ask you before, and it's going to be my last question. Let's try to keep it short here, because I don't want to be taking up too much of your time. But over the past year of your ownership, have you had any issues with the vehicle in terms of reliability?
No, so far, you know, that's just maintenance issues that come along, the recalls that come along. You know, we've had a battery pack issue that the battery pack wasn't heating during the winter. There's a heater that comes to try to heat the battery in the winter, and that wasn't working, but it was replaced by Chrysler, and there were no issues. The one thing I would point out is that, you know, the dealership has to have a technician that is licensed and certified to service the hybrid system. And so I would recommend that you call in advance to make sure that the technician is available before you service the car.
Well, that's pretty cool. Well, it doesn't seem like you had many issues anyways. But all in all, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate the fact that you actually allowed me to review this car. And thanks for your feedback. Hopefully this will be helpful towards other potential owners that are looking towards the minivan segment. So thanks a lot once again.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that quick review on the 2021 Chrysler Pacifica e-Hybrid Pinnacle trim. Hopefully you guys got some information out of this. I'm sorry if I'm not that great when it comes to the minivan sector, but I try to do my best, and you know, that really caught my attention in terms of having to review this this car, just because of the fact that it's the only plug-in hybrid in the industry right now. So for any of you that are interested, feel free to reach out to me, comment below with any questions, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.